Hi everyone, this is Malika Kanijan from MK Immigration. Today I will talk about biometrics. Biometrics refers to a digital photo and a digital fingerprint taken by IRCC. They help in identifying people and reducing identity fraud. Our website has an article on biometrics and you can access it. If you just go on Google, you type in mkimmigration.ca, you can access our website right there. And then you go on More here, which is on the top right corner, and you click on Blogs. Once you're there, the first one right now is Biometrics for Canada in Canada Applications 2019. So you just have to click on that. And as of December 3rd, 2019, if Canadian government requires biometrics even if the applicants are applying from within Canada. So for instance, if you're a foreign worker and you want to either change your status to maybe a student or a visitor, or you want to apply for an extension of your work permit, or maybe if you're an international student and you want to apply for a postgraduate work permit, or you want to extend your study permit, or you want to apply for your permanent residency. In all of these cases, you would need to give your biometrics if you have not given it in the past 10 years. And you can actually check if your biometrics is valid. If you just click here, it will take us to another link, and over here you can check if your biometrics are still valid and do you need to give them again or not. So if you just go on I accept, and I'm not going to fill this up just because of confidentiality, but you can fill your UCI number. This is a number, it's a unique client identifier number, which can be found on either your permit, so your study or work permit, or on your passport where the Canadian visa is. It's a 8 to 10 digit number, and if you're applying for the first time, you won't have this number, so you will have to give your biometrics. So you can find that number, put the number in, put your last name, date of birth, and the country of birth, and that's how you will figure out if you still have valid biometrics and do you need to give them again or not. Coming back to the website, generally biometrics are required for the following applicants, so someone who would need a visitor visa. So if you're from a country which is visa exempt and you only need a electronic travel authorization, which is an ETA, then you do not need biometrics to come to Canada, to visit Canada. If you would need biometrics to work or study in Canada, so to get a work permit or a study permit, but only exception to this would be that US nationals do not need biometrics for this. The US nationals only need biometrics when they're applying for permanent residency in Canada. Otherwise, they do not need biometrics. Other people that would need biometrics would be people who are applying for permanent residency, refugee or asylum status, if they're extending their stay in Canada and they've not given biometrics before. So this is in addition to the rule now as of December 3rd. First, you didn't have to do that. Or you're changing your status, then you would have to give your biometrics again if you haven't given it in the last 10 years. So that is a new addition as well. This is in Canada. And then some people are exempt from biometrics, so that would be the royal family, Queen Elizabeth II, some diplomats, US nationals, unless applying for immigration, applicants who are younger than 14 or older than 79, and applicants who are just transiting from Canada to USA and they're not actually going to visit Canada. Or visa exempt, as I said earlier, so if you're from a country that only needs an ETA, you won't need biometrics either. For permanent residence applications, you need to give your biometrics and pay the fee each time you actually apply. So even if you gave your biometrics in the past 10 years for maybe visitor or work or study, for when you're applying for your permanent residence application, you will have to give your biometrics again. And there's also a thing called an alien passport. So if you have an alien passport, no matter which country you're from, you will have to give your biometrics regardless. The next thing we come to is fees for biometrics. So for a single applicant, it's about $85 per person. And if it's a family of 2 or more, it will be $170 total. And if it's a group of 3 or more artists, biometrics would cost $255 for 3 or more artists. And some of the documents that you will have to take for biometrics would be your passport, your biometrics request letter. So once you make your application, it depends on how you make your application, maybe on paper or online. If you're making your application online, you will get the request for biometrics letter almost instantly or a day after, which would, and you'll have the request, and then you just have to book your appointment to get your biometrics done. This is if you've paid for your biometrics when you were applying. If you've paid for your biometrics when you were applying and you're mailing your application instead of online, this process might take a couple of weeks because once they get your application, they will send you a request via mail for biometrics. So you need to take that request letter with you, your passport, and you need to book an appointment. So you can actually click here to find out where to give your biometrics. Now this leads to the Government of Canada website. When you scroll down, you can actually write the country that you want to give it in. So if you want to give it in Canada, there are all of these places where you could. Let's say I want to give it in British Columbia. So in British Columbia, I can give it in Abbotsford, Boundary Bay, Douglas. So there's a lot of options for you. You can, there's certain where it says by appointment only, so make sure you make an appointment. Some others, some other port of entries you could just go, but it's always good to make an appointment if you can. And also, if you need to visit or move to Canada, you can always click here to fill our free assessment forms. We will get back to you if there is something, some stream that we think you qualify in, or you can book an appointment with a consultant too just by clicking here. You get to our contact us page. You can send us your queries or either call us to book an appointment. And I hope this was helpful, and I will come back to you guys later with something new that might help you with new rules and Canadian immigration. Thank you.